Okay, so welcome. You may notice that the format has changed a little bit. Basically, what's happened is I found some software that's going to allow me to cut down the amount of time I spend editing and preparing a video by about 70%. So I should be able to deliver a lot more content going forward than I have in the past. So I hope this works out well. And I lost the jacket. We're getting into summer. It's just getting way too warm. So I guess for summertime, I'm going to go a little bit more casual. We'll see how it goes. So today we have a story. In fact, we have two stories that I'm actually excited to bring because they're very positive, right? A lot of times spend time getting down on things, complaining about people. This is actually two very, what I consider uplifting stories, and I think very promising for setting a model for how people probably should act going forward. So the first, as you can see behind me, Michigan governor announces tuition-free educational program for essential workers. This is fantastic. So basically, I've called this out a couple of times on previous videos where we're sitting there and we're calling these people heroes, the people that are still going to work now, the grocery store workers, the people doing city jobs that still need to be performed, and state jobs, and all these, keeping our water clean so that it flows into our houses, keeping the food in the grocery stores, delivering food to grocery stores, delivering things to our houses. These people are putting themselves at risk, and along with doctors and nurses and all the people that are taking care of the health on the front lines, these people are out there working, and we keep calling them heroes. But as I've mentioned before, it's, our culture in some ways is a very hypocritical culture. We love to call these people heroes, but when it comes around to taking care of those very people that we're calling heroes, we don't do it. We treat them more like the disposable class, right? So, Gretchen Whitmer here is stepping up and saying, we're going to take care of people. These people that we're calling heroes, we're not going to just tell them they're a hero. We're going to show them, you know what? Our state is better off because of the work that you did, and we're going to prove it to you. We're going to make your life better. You went out there, you risked yourself, you saved lives, you kept things going while the rest of us were at home. Good for you. You now get tuition-free educational program. And this is going to cover not just people for hospitals and nursing homes. This is going to cover people working at grocery stores, childcare centers, sanitations, delivery people. All those people that are out there doing this kind of work are going to get tuition-free educational programs, which then will lead to them hopefully making more over the course of their lifetime and being able to say, you know what, I was in there, I was taking care of people, but then the state stepped up and took care of me so that I could go out and better my life. And that's exactly the kind of things that we should be doing. We should stop calling these people heroes, and we should start proving to them with our actions that they are heroes. So yeah, good on you, Gretchen. This was a fantastic move, and there's all sorts of other stuff going on in Michigan that's a mess. Her state legislature is not real happy with her. She's got protests going on there, but she's still finding the time to do the right thing for the citizens of her state. So good job. All right, and in our other story, we've got my governor, Gavin Newsom, stepping up and putting together resources that under a pure capitalist system where you're just waiting for some billionaire to get in the middle and say, well, yeah, I can solve this problem now because we have shareholders who can make money off of it. Gavin Newsom steps in and says, you know what? We got hungry people over here. We got food that's going to rot over here. Why don't we bring the food and the hungry people together? And we won't worry so much about the billionaires getting in the middle, making money off of the transaction. We're just going to use the resources of the state to get the food to the people that are hungry. Right? We're not going to worry about the profit margin in the middle. We're just going to take care of the people and make sure that they can eat, right? It's absolutely ridiculous that we have food rotting in fields because so if you've watched these supply chains, there's so much going on where, certain types of foods that were generally eaten in restaurants are not being consumed, so they're just kind of rotting in the fields. Plus, a lot of lettuces are rotting in the fields because they're not selling well. So there's lots of food out there that is never going to be eaten, and yet there's people that are hungry. There's a lot of people who lost their jobs, a lot of people who are not having enough money to get by right now. So we take the food and we give it to the people. So let's hear what Newsom has to say about it.
Partnership. Today, we're announcing a strategy to do the same around food, but now focusing on farms to families. focusing on the issues that obviously are front and center all across the nation, and that's issues of food banks and how we could do more to help support our farmers, help support farm workers, and also help support food banks here in the state of California. This new initiative that we're launching today is a partnership between the federal government, the state of California, and philanthropy. It's a strategy that's rather simple. Currently, our farmers, our ranchers, are experiencing about a 50% reduction in demand, which is a jaw-dropping reduction in demand. They have excess produce, they have excess commodities that they simply, in many respects, as perishable items, some of them, they cannot distribute. We have food banks that have, on the average, seen a 73% spike in demand. Here we are, breadbasket, the world, California, and we want to address that mismatch. We want to address the supply and the demand. And so that's the announcement today, to work with the ranchers, to work with the farmers, to connect them to the food banks, and do so in a way that jumpstarts our capacity to deliver nutritious food, high quality, locally produced produce, poultry and dairy and the like, to those most in need in the state.
So, I mean, this is really good, right? So a lot of times what you would have is in the pure market, what you would have is someone saying, well, we've got this problem of excess food over here that's going to literally rot, and we've got this problem over here of hungry people. I guess there's nothing we can do about it unless some billionaire who's backed by shareholders can get in there and get in between and say, okay, I'll figure out the problem of how to get the food to the people. That's what the free market, that's what we're always told the free market does, right? Well, in this case, the government did it. The state stepped up and said, okay, over here on my left, we've got an excess of food that if no one eats it is going to just rot. Over here, we've got hungry people. Let's bring them together. So putting the state National Guard to work, making sure that this excess food can get to the food shelters, which can then get it to the people, right? So we didn't have to worry about profit in this case. We didn't have to worry about, maximizing shareholder earnings. We didn't have to do any of that. We just thought, here's a problem, let's solve it. And even though we're the government, we're going to get in there and we're just going to solve this problem, right? Because the truth is a lot of these problems aren't really going to be solved by the free market, right? It's not profitable to feed poor people. It's not profitable to fix the environment. These things don't bring a profit, but they're good for society. They're good for humanity to do those things. And so it's okay for government to step in and do that kind of stuff. So, this is great. We just saw two examples of governors putting people first, right? The people before the profit, stepping in and saying, here's what we need to do. Here's the right thing to do for these members of our society that need to be taken care of. Okay, so that's the new format. Again, it's going to allow me to get through videos much, much faster so that I can produce more content and still keep it good quality. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the future.